Now talk about types of natural selection in the evolution. There are three types of natural selection. Let's understand the stabilizing selection or normalizing selection. If in any population there are three different kind of phenotypes are found, some individuals have the higher size or the height as an phenotype, some have very low height or the phenotype, and most of the individuals having the intermediate kind of phenotypic expression, maybe height or the size is the phenotype. So here on the y-axis, number of individuals with different phenotype here. For example, size is the phenotype. There are three different kind of individuals are found. The individuals having higher extreme, some individuals have towards the lower extremes, and some are towards the mean. In this population, after some time, if we observe, the number of individuals having the mean size in the population goes on increasing. In such case, the graph appears like this. In this condition, the individuals having higher extreme or higher size decreases, individuals having lower size decreases, but the individual having the mean size goes on increasing. In such case, the base of the graph decreases and the height of the graph increases. So here we can say the peak become higher and narrower as well. So we can say that only one kind of phenotype is selected in the population instead of three. Here in this population, the variation decreases, as we can observe that initially there are three different phenotypes for the same character. Later on, the higher and lower extreme goes on decreasing and the mean goes on increasing. And it may happen that after some time, there are only one kind of individuals may found in the population. So only the mean expression phenotype is found. If this kind of selection is found, variation goes on decreasing in the population, and as a result of that, evolution process slow down. This is stabilizing selection or normalizing selection. Now talk about the directional selection or progressive selection. According to Lamarck, there were three different kind of phenotypes were found in the length of the giraffe as a character. Some giraffe have long neck, some have the intermediate or the medium length of the neck, and some have very short length of the neck in the population. In population, due to the natural calamities, the grass were not found due to the drought-like condition. So the short-necked giraffe couldn't get enough food as they are the herbivorous animals. So they ultimately dies. The medium length giraffe goes on decreasing as they couldn't get the grass, but in some cases they get the leaves of the trees. But the long-necked giraffe were naturally selected in that population. We can understand that the long-necked giraffe goes on increasing in that population. So the mean or the peak which were initially found here in this condition is moved towards the right side in this population. If the peak of the graph moves in one direction towards the higher extreme or towards the lower extreme as well, this is a directional kind of selection or the progressive selection. Another example we can get to understand the concept of directional selection, and that is industrial Melanism. In England, before 1920, there are two kinds of moths were found. The one such was dull grey color or white, and another were melanic moth, that is black colored moth were found. Moths sit on the bark of the tree, which were already occupied by the white colored lichens. So on the white background, when the white colored moth settle, they cannot identify easily by the predators like birds. But when the black colored moth sit on that white background, they were easily identified by the predators like birds. So in this population, initially there are two different kinds of moth were found. Some are black and some are grayish dull or the white in color. But due to this natural selection, initially the black color moth goes on decreasing, and we can say the graph move towards the one direction, or the peak of the graph move towards the one direction as white color moth goes on increasing in that population. After 1920, what happens? Due to industrial revolution, the black colored coal smoke were emitted by the industries, and as a result of that, near that population, the pollution goes on increasing. We know very well, lichens are the indicators of the pollution. Where pollution is there, lichen cannot survive. And so, in that region, the lichens were eliminated, or simply their population declined. On contrary, the bark of the trees become black in color. So now, on the black background, when black color moth were set, they were not identified by the predators. But when the white color moth set on the black background of the bark of the tree, they were easily identified by the predators. And now, exactly the contra condition happens, and this way the white color moth were more in that population goes on decreasing gradually, and the black color goes on increasing. So this is the reverse condition of the earlier, and this is again called as a natural selection. So this way, moth population in industrial melanism is an example of directional or the progressive selection. Now understand the disruptive selection or diversifying selection. The lower extreme and the higher extreme individuals goes on increasing. We can observe in this graph that the organism towards the higher extreme goes on increasing. Organism towards the lower extreme goes on increasing, but the organism which show the median kind of phenotype goes on decreasing. So this way, the entire population is subdivided into two subpopulations, and the intermediate kind of phenotype having organism goes on decreasing. Stebbins gave the example of sunflower population in California. This sunflower population having the hybrid kind of variety. Initially, the hybrid kind of sunflower plants having ability to grow in the dry habitat as well as to grow in the wet habitat were found in maximum number in the population. After some years, they observed that the sunflower plants having the ability to grow in the dry region goes on increasing, as well the plants having the ability to grow in the wet environment goes on increasing, but the hybrid kind of plants goes on decreasing, which were initially maximum in number, but after some year they goes on decreasing. And after that, in the California, two different kind of populations were found for the sunflower, one such in the dry habitat and other one in the wet habitat. So we can understand these three different kind of natural selection. We studied that in the stabilizing or normalizing selection, the organism having the intermediate phenotype were selected, not the higher and the lower kind of extreme of the phenotype. So only one such organisms are selected in the stabilizing. So in the directional kind of selection, as we studied, the either higher or the lower extreme organism were selected, not the intermediate one. Whereas in the disruptive kind of selection, here the both higher and the lower extremes are selected and they goes on increasing, but the intermediate goes on decreasing.